So, when it came down to self reflection, some similarities that we found personally in our cultural background were that we both grew up being taught to treat others equally and to respect each other equally. So, when we see these things not happening in the classroom, it's our triggers. Similarities when it came to our focus students is that we realized that we both needed time to see how could we connect with them so that we could gain their trust. We had to pull time aside and think, how can I relate to this student and how can I help them to learn in a easier and better way. We also realized that it was easier in our last placement because we had more time with them to eventually gain their trust. Here, we've only been with these students for maybe a couple days, only 2.5 weeks total, so it was harder for us to actually connect with them and gain their trust.
Okay, so one of the differences that Viviana found was that she made a connection by pulling out the student one-on-one. She noticed that her focus student had some very individualized needs to be addressed, so they were addressed in a one-on-one setting. One of the differences for me, is I saw other students with a similar struggle as my focus student, so I incorporated an activity that would help all of the students to get their wiggles out. Okay, classroom practices. So take time to get to know your students early on, as well as throughout the year. Don't be afraid to stop and alter the lesson at any point, depending on what the students do and do not understand, and plan their curriculum around their interests and needs.
So examples include morning greeting and morning share, which is something you can do at the very beginning of the day to get to know your students. You can also give them a brain break, maybe get some Go Noodle to get their wiggles out, but just any activities so they can really get to know each other and respect each other. Another example of this is our restorative practices, which is also known as circle time, which can be done throughout the day or whenever the teacher really feels that the students need to come together as a whole class and maybe talk out an issue or maybe learn something together as a whole class.
All right, and in conclusion, it is important to make connections with your students, to involve as many interests as you can into your curriculum, and to get to know their culture and background to eliminate any possible cultural bias, maybe.